The end game is in sight in Iraq, but a whole new phase may be beginning in Afghanistan. That's the verdict of the U.S. Defense Secretary as he prepares to dispatch more troops to the country. Right now, Robert Gates and the Joint of Staff's head are explaining how they see things going in the country where George Bush launched his war on terror 7 years ago. During this news hour, we'll be hearing more from their testimony to the House Armed Services Committee. George Bush has already announced that he'll divert soldiers from Iraq to Afghanistan. We'll be taking you to the streets of Kabul to hear the view of people there on America's latest plans. And we'll take you across the border into Pakistan to report on a U.S. attack that's said to have killed a top Taliban leader. But we begin with the words of Admiral Mike Mullen in Washington just a few moments ago.
I'm not convinced we're winning it in Afghanistan. I am convinced we can. That is why I intend to commission I'm looking at a new, more comprehensive military strategy for the region that covers both sides of that border. Afghanistan doesn't just need more boots on the ground, it needs more trucks on the roads, teachers in schools, trained judges and lawyers in those courts. Foreign investment, alternative crops, sound governance, the rule of law, these are the keys to success in Afghanistan. We cannot kill our way to victory.
We're working with Pakistan in a number of areas, and I do believe that Islamabad appreciates the magnitude of the threat from the tribal areas, particularly considering the uptick in suicide bombings directed at Pakistani targets. During this time of political turmoil in Pakistan, it is especially critical that we maintain a strong and positive relationship with the government, since any deterioration would be a setback for both Pakistan and Afghanistan. The war on terror started in this region. It must end there.
Correspondent Rosalind Jordan is monitoring the hearing in Washington and joins us live. Anything else being said, Rosalind?
Well, one thing that Admiral Mullen did say to the members of the House Armed Services Committee is that, quote, we cannot kill our way to victory. The Admiral went on to say that this is going to be a matter of trying to use diplomacy, of trying to use economic development, and trying to use other non-military strategies in order to affect the peace, not just in Afghanistan, but in Iraq as well. For his part, Secretary Gates also said that even though he and his military commanders made the decision that pulling a Marine battalion and an Army brigade out of Iraq and sending them instead to Afghanistan posed a limited security risk, he still said that in his view, the stability in Iraq is very fragile, and that is his word. He said that it would not take much in terms of any interference from Al-Qaeda, from any outside interference from the Iranian government, or from within Iraq sectarian forces that could reignite violence within that country.
What
Jane.
should we be reading into the timing of all this?
Well, at this point, what you're looking at is a U.S. military that is quite stretched in terms of manpower. There's been a lot of discussion within the U.S. government whether or not there are enough people on active duty between those who go onto active duty or those who serve in the reserves, because so many of those people have found themselves doing multiple deployments in Iraq. Now that the situation in Afghanistan is destabilizing, there's a question of what do we do with the number of active duty people that we currently have? And so this is really a matter of trying to deal with two situations which the U.S. Instigated and not being able to do so successfully with the numbers of people that they have in front of them. There are some critics who might suggest that what you're hearing from Admiral Mullen and from Secretary Gates is in essence handing off both of these issues to the next presidential administration. We are in election season after all, but what they're saying is they're trying to address the concerns in two unique places as best they can with the resources they have. One thing we have not heard any discussion of as of yet, Jane, is how much more money is it going to cost certainly in the political campaigns, we are hearing people complaining about the estimated $10 billion that are being spent every month in Iraq alone. And there's a question of whether in a time of economic instability, can the U.S. government continue to spend that sort of money?
Sure. Rosalind, does this also suggest that their tactics in dealing with the Taliban has failed?
That one could certainly make that argument, Jane. There's certainly the case that over the past 2 years, and certainly Secretary Gates alluded to this in his comments, the situation has been slowly getting worse, particularly in the tribal areas of western Pakistan and in the far southeastern corner of Afghanistan, which is where the Taliban had its traditional power base. Certainly there is a big problem when you don't have enough people there who understand the culture, who understand the language, who understand how to build alliances with local tribal leaders. And certainly that has made it much easier for the Taliban to reassert itself in the U.S.'s view. Now, whether or not this goes toward any future risk toward the government of President Hamid Karzai remains to be seen, but this is very much a situation where the U.S. is now having to play catch up, and it's saying that it can't do it by itself, but certainly other countries that have had forces in Afghanistan, notably the UK, notably Canada, notably Poland and Germany, they're going to be looking at it and saying, well, U.S., you led this coalition into Afghanistan, and we're really going to be looking to you, Washington, to figure out how to resolve it.
Okay, Rosalind, do let us know if anything more comes out of this hearing in Washington. So, a clear message from the military chiefs in Washington, but will thousands more U.S. troops be welcomed in Afghanistan? Al-Jazeera's Zaina Khoda has been out on the streets of Kabul seeking the view of ordinary Afghanis.
No one here seems to be paying attention to the fact that their country is again on the front line in the so-called U.S. war on terror. Here in Kabul, Afghans go about their daily lives, not even bothering to stop working when we asked them what they thought about the U.S. decision to send up to 4,500 more troops over the next few months. For Baralai, no matter how many Americans are on Afghan soil, it won't make a difference.
We prefer our old mujahideen. They are better than the Americans. The American troops here are not for us. They are here for themselves.
A sentiment shared by many. These men wait on the side of the road, at times for hours, just to find a job. You can find them in almost every square in Kabul. Painters, construction workers, they take any job to earn a few dollars to feed their families. For them, American promises for more development and infrastructure projects are not the solution.
The biggest help the US gave us is only to scare us. We almost have heart attacks when their convoys pass. And every night on the news we hear 50 civilians are being killed because of them.
Something Haji Saleh knows all too well. He lost his wife, sister and nephews in coalition bombardment in Panjwai district in Kandahar. He is originally from Helmand. Today, he is an internally displaced Afghan who had to escape the violence.
When Musa Kala was under control of the Taliban for 11 months, it was peaceful. As soon as foreigners took over the bombardment and violence started, we request that the foreigners should leave. They can't bring peace.
And for Samir, U.S. troops have so far been unable to bring peace, and he wonders what additional forces would do.
The solution is strengthening our armed forces. They are better than Americans. We should make them powerful.
There is a feeling of helplessness and despair as the security situation gets worse by the day. The United States seems to be placing a new emphasis on Afghanistan. This country is now less secure than it has been over the past 7 years. It has affected Afghans. There is a sense of frustration, but many doubt this new emphasis will change their lives for the better. Zaina Khoda, Al-Jazeera, Kabul.
But during the hearing in Washington, Admiral Mullen and Defense Secretary Gates have both spoken about the importance of the Pakistan border region. And there are reports that Al-Qaeda's newly appointed leader there has been killed. Unnamed intelligence officials say Abu Harris was hit by an airstrike on a madrasa in Waziristan. Kamal Haider has the latest from Islamabad.
Victims of an assault in the Pakistani border region of North Waziristan. Witnesses say the unmanned U.S. drones fired several missiles at a compound linked to an Afghan Taliban commander, Jalaluddin Haqqani. Unnamed Pakistani intelligence sources say the 3 commanders of Al-Qaeda in Pakistan were killed in the attack. Among them, a newly appointed chief, Abu Haris, thought to be the Syrian.